All right, so this is fertilization. That is when, a man and a woman love each other very much, and the man takes his sperm and fertilizes the egg of the woman. And you got to know each sperm and egg, and you have to know that each one just has 23 chromosomes, which I don't find that hard to remember because you want them to have 23, right? Because once they get together, they're going to make this new thing that contains 46 chromosomes. 23 plus 23 makes 46, which is 23 pairs. All right, and that first little thing that we call you when you're just the sperm and egg has just come together, we call it a zygote, and then it starts to develop and develop and develop and become an embryo, and then like a fetus, and then a baby. All right, so the biggest things to know here is that it's egg and sperm is for when the sperm goes into the female reproductive tract and fertilizes the egg. That's called fertilization. That each one has 23 chromosomes. When they get together, that's the first time, and I've seen this question a lot in the regions. It's the first time when like that little new baby has the full 46 number of chromosomes. So here it's only 23, here it's 23, but as soon as they get together and everywhere from then on, that is the full 46 number of chromosomes. The other thing I've seen is that the only meiosis that's happening here is the making of the sperm and egg. So we made the sperm and we made the egg by meiosis. As soon as those sperm and the egg get together, every little bit of growth, even just a simple little zygote developing into like a ball of cells and splitting and then becoming an embryo, that's all mitosis. And sometimes people get that wrong because they're like, "Ooh, this is sexual reproduction. That's meiosis." Nope, meiosis is just making the sperm and egg. That's all meiosis does. Sperm and egg, sperm and egg, sperm and egg. All meiosis does is make the sperm and egg. Then everything beyond this point, when the baby's developing from just one little zygote to a little 2 cells to 4 cells to 8 cells and just keeps doubling. Every little bit of growth and doubling of cells, that's mitosis. You're just making body cells. So meiosis was just making the sperm and the egg. All right. On to my next slide. So the big thing you have to know here, I'm going to show you a whole bunch of stuff, but what you need to know is a few locations. So one, the sperm obviously enters through the vagina, right, through sexual intercourse, and sperm has to travel all the way up here. The question is, where does fertilization occur? Do the sperm and the egg? So the egg is here, right? So that's one thing you need to know, is that the egg is made in the ovary, and we talked about that in the previous notes. So the egg's made in the ovary, and the sperm is made in the testes. Where do they meet? Do they meet in the vagina? Do they meet in the uterus? Do they meet in the tube? So what they do is they meet like right here. So they meet in the fallopian tubes, also known as the oviduct, and that seems to be the word they use more, oviduct, but either one would be fine to write on the regions. So I like to think of it as like, how boys are always kind of chasing after girls. The girls play hard to get. The egg will only come this far. She's like, I'm only coming as far as the tube. And she makes the sperm come all the way up through the vagina, through the uterus, through the tubes, and meet right here in the oviduct. So you do have to know that is where fertilization occurs. All right, and that's why men send so many sperm. Average male makes millions of sperm per day, right? Because men are disgusting. Ew. But that's what they do. They're just big sperm-making machines. Because it is really difficult to get the sperm all the way up, all the way through here to meet in the oviduct. So that's why they send millions every time during sexual intercourse. And then the other thing is that this right here is the uterus. All right. I just spelled it wrong. Like really wrong. I'm just going to start over. That is the uterus, and that's where the baby develops. All right. And the way I remember that is if it stayed here in the oviduct, that would actually be called an ectopic pregnancy. Look how small that tube is. You do not want a baby growing in a little tiny tube. If that happens, that's a danger to the baby and to the mother. So what happens is once it's fertilized, then it comes down here to the uterus where it's nice and big and it's been preparing with all those blood vessels, and the baby's going to go ahead and develop in the uterus. So the 3 big things you have to know here is that eggs are made in the ovary, fertilization occurs in the tube, in the oviduct, and then the baby develops in the uterus.